everyone, Ashley Daniels here for another recap of the Real Housewives of New York. There was a lot of drama tonight between Jules and Bethenny. We have lots to discuss. Stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
I feel very lucky tonight.
Yeah.
Are we gonna get lucky tonight? By the way, I can't speak. I'm like, stay tuned. Stay tuned, I meant to say. I meant to say stay tuned. Hey guys, Ashley Daniels, and I'm back. I missed you guys so much, but I have been glued to my TVs watching The Real Housewives of New York on replay. I've even gone as far as going back to season 1 and watching every episode just because I love it so much. Who am I here with tonight? Who's to my right?
Hi guys, it's Megan Stecher. After a week off, I'm so happy to be back as well.
And this is Lyndsey Wegner here. You guys can reach me on Twitter at Lyndsey Wegner.
Fern Ronay here. You can find me on Twitter at Fern Ronay.
Megan, where can we find you on Twitter?
Oh, at Megan Stecher.
And I'm at Ashley Daniels. And this was an intense episode. We needed it though. Sometimes we get those weeks where it's a little mellow, so we needed that plateau tonight, and we got it. I mean, last week we had some stuff with LuAnn, but I wasn't like, oh my god, this was crazy tonight. Overall thoughts of this episode, my loves?
Yeah, I'm feeling like, okay, we're ramping up again. And I have a little news to share at the end about, like, you know, how exciting the episode is.
So they should stay tuned?
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. You guys are all going to be laughing at me later, so.
No, it's all right.
Fern, you look pretty in pink.
Why, thank you. It is the celebration of Legally Blonde's 15 years ago.
Like,
It was
only you would
released.
know that. That's amazing.
We've got
I
our pink on
actually
right
didn't
here.
know. Megan
really?
had to alert me yesterday, and I was like, oh my god, how did I not know this? Thank you so much.
I thought it was because you were a
welcome.
lawyer and like you were like a hot lawyer like she was. I didn't know.
I don't know,
Okay,
but
well,
I was
whatever.
like, I do relate to her because I was a bit of a misfit too in law school. So I was like, thank you. I can't believe I didn't know it was the anniversary.
Oh my
It's my
goodness,
high
that makes
holy
me
day.
feel very old because I remember seeing that
We
in the movie
need
theater.
to,
I know.
we need to send out a bend and snap. Snap!
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
A bend and
Oh.
snap, snap.
A snap, snap.
Okay,
I hope I don't hurt
bend
any.
and snap. We got to do it.
Pull anything. I'm old now. It's 15 years later.
Yeah, right, exactly. We've been bending and snapping for 15 years. Oh my god, depressing. Okay, crazy tonight. Bethany and Jules. I don't know. Honestly, I don't understand how this argument started. It went from a mellow situation to all of a sudden Jules just getting really angry and lashing out and yelling at Bethany. Now, whether or not it was, justified in what she was saying, did you guys think that this was the right place at the right time thing, or did you just feel like everything just built up and she just started going and it just was all toward Bethany?
I think everything built up. Yeah, this has been going on for weeks. I think because of the fight with LuAnn prior, just kind of put her in the place where, okay, I'm ready to say something. These girls are picking on LuAnn because LuAnn was trying to leave, and Jules and Dorinda tried to stop her. So maybe she felt like I need to kind of like say my piece.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I think when Bethany said stupid is as stupid does, it was like, that's it. Then she went nuts. And she got, she's nervous. She seems to have a bit of anxiety, and she couldn't find the words. So it wasn't the right place or time for her. I think she'd probably do better writing it out in an email. But once Bethany said that, she just had to let it out.
And I think she was waiting for the first person to say anything that she could kind of trampoline off of to start an argument, because I think it's been so pent up, and Dorinda was egging her on behind the scenes to say something, to speak her quotes, to speak her mind, find her voice. So I think that as soon as Bethany said stupid is as stupid does, which was completely uncalled for and very mean girl, that it was like, now's the time, let's let it fly.
Okay, this just made me think immediately that the fork in the calzone was almost like a way for someone to say something. Like, because you said she was waiting for someone to say something. Like, why would you put the fork in the calzone?
Oh, okay.
I'm wondering if that was just kind of a way to, like, subconsciously she wanted to get attention from somebody, hoping like Bethany would say something so then she could start a conversation. I could be way off, but I just can't. I guess maybe I'm still trying to figure out why you'd put the fork in the calzone. But did you think that maybe, because Bethany was the one who she did say something about it, and it kind of did spiral from there as well. Do you think that had anything to do with it? Like, subconsciously, did she do
I don't
that?
know. I really thought
get people going?
firmly that week that was like a way that she wouldn't have to eat her own food, because she made it into like a piece of garbage that no one inedible.
You had to pick around,
Yeah.
so no one's really going to eat food that's been picked at or even cut apart.
I was just thinking maybe that was like at that point she was trying to get somebody to say something and no one did. No, they did, but like that argument didn't happen that day, and so it was just like building up, and maybe Jules has been trying to say something all this time, but she hasn't been able to because she needs someone to first say something to get her upset. So maybe that calzone was like the first start of it. I don't know. I just feel like if it's all built up like this, it's been a lot. And she's been wanting to say all this.
Right. I think it's a lot of personal stress she has going on in her life, and that was part of it too. Because she seemed a little, when she started going on and on about like, I don't care what you think of me if you think I'm too skinny, and I hug my bones, and got a little off the rails at that moment.
It didn't even need to go there. It was about being stupid, not the anorexia. It was just a separate issue. So
she was
just like
convinced that everyone was talking behind her back, which is where it got cloudy for me.
Well, I think paranoia happens. I know that's happened with my sister. She would think that everybody was staring at her all the time. When she's completely recovered, so like I said, but she would think everybody was always talking about it. We wouldn't be saying anything, and she would always think we were talking about it because it consumes their mind. I read so much about it to understand my sister more, and it literally, like, food is all they think about all day long, and their eating disorder is like, it's their everything.
It's obsessive.
It's obsessive all day long, so they think everybody else is looking at it and thinking about it too.
It's the only thing they can control, so if I can control my food, then I control my body, because they can't control anything else. So it's just this constant thought for it. And I felt like she got on this train and just like flipping took off, like threw the coal in there and was just because it seriously, I was like, take a breath.
Yeah.
Slow down. Like, I felt like some of the things she was saying were valid, but I was like, slow down. Take a second. They are listening to you.
She's been wanting to get on this train for a while. I think she's been hoping every conversation. That's what I was saying, like with the calzone, I just feel like she's been trying. Every week she's like trying to get somebody to listen to her because she's got a lot to say, but it's just like she needs that moment. She's so uncomfortable talking, especially to Bethenny. So just
maybe you're right, because Bethenny pissed her off right in the beginning of that pizza dinner when she didn't ask her, like when she said find a verb. So maybe she's like, tonight I'm gonna like let her have it when she said something, and she never did.
Exactly. Like, I don't know. It's just but now Carole, on the other hand, how did you guys feel about her personality throughout this? I love Carole, but I have to say I thought she was mean tonight. Like she was
insensitive.
Yeah. Like she didn't have any remorse for possibly having something to do with Jules being upset, because regardless if she's right or wrong, you know, any of us, if we see somebody really like unraveling in front of our eyes, I think we'd all be like, oh my, well listen, like I never meant to hurt your feelings. Like we try to do something, and she was just kind of sitting back and kind of observing the situation. I don't know. I didn't feel like she was being very warm in that sense, but how did you guys feel?
I think Dorinda had it right on, saying that Bethenny and Carole were being very insensitive about the eating disorder. And Carole was also insensitive about other things that night, like saying, Sonia, you really get around. And she just was like verbal diarrhea. Yeah. And I don't think she was drunk. Dorinda, on the other hand, seemed pretty drunk with the slurring and the pointing, but that's my favorite version of Dorinda. So, just very insensitive about the eating disorder. And the fact that Bethenny had to start screaming at Jules, making it about herself, I just was like, I'm so done with Bethenny this season. Like, I have been a raging Bethenny fan since, like, day one on the scene, season 1. And I can't get over how much I dislike her this year. It's, like, heartbreaking for me because she was my favorite. It's, like, why I tune in every week. And she's in the whole, like, zero fucks, like, mode of life. It's, like, all she ever talks about on her radio show. And she's got T-shirts she's selling that say it. And it's a little too much. She's, like, no sensitivity left. And, you know, we see her later apologize to Sonja. And it's, like, she just wants to go off at people and think about it for a while and then apologize later. It's very Ramona to me.
Yeah, it's a very good point. I wanted to mention also Carole saying, she kind of mouthed it to Dorinda. It's hard to watch her eat, she said, about Jules. I don't know.
Right, it's not about you, Carole.
Right, and it probably is hard to, I mean, I know it was hard to see my sister struggle with things and like move things around and everything and pretend she's eating. Yeah, it's really not easy, but like you said, it's not about us. Like it's about them. So just don't look at it if it's bothering you. But it was kind of coming from like a judgmental a judgmental place, and that's not really typical of her. Did you guys feel similar to her personality type?
Yeah, I was trying to remember, and I didn't write it down, some of the things she said. Like, she made, like, these one-off comments to her that were, like, so... I mean, I love Carole, but I don't think she's warm, which is, like, a weird thing, like, that I just adore her, but she's not, I don't think, a very warm person. But I think she is kind, and I think she said some things tonight that I was like... It was like Bethenny's rubbing off on her.
It's a really good point, Fern. She's not warm. I guess to even like for me to even be like, oh, she should have been warm. Like, no, that's not her personality. But I think just being a little more sympathetic to the situation, like you said, because she is a kind person. So it's interesting that she really was like intolerant of the entire conversation that Jules was having with everybody.
Well, Jules just feels like they're all talking about her behind her back, and Jules is like, I make fun of myself, but you make fun of people with the intent to hurt them. And I'm sure we all have friends that are kind of like that or know people that are like that. And get away from me. Stay far away from me. If you were going to make fun of people to like hurt them, that's just not okay. And so in knowing that these girls they all talk about each other behind their backs. They all do. And I have a feeling that Jules is going to be really, really, really upset when it comes, to the reunion, when they're talking about all the conversations that were had behind her back or in the confessional or whatever. She's going to be genuinely like, not angry, hurt. Because some of this stuff is very mean girl.
I don't think she was right in starting this conversation right then and there, and also just lashing out completely at Bethenny and not saying anything to Carole when her anger lies in both of them. So I can see why Carole would have been a little bit like, why are you attacking my friend? And I could see why Bethenny would be like, why are you attacking me? But I just think Jules can't handle her emotions right now. I mean, she, like they said later on in the episode, I think I think Dorinda someone mentioned, well, when Jules was getting really upset, she did say she's still in the midst of having an eating disorder. She's still struggling. And as Jules said that night, she still threw up her food the other day. So it was kind of like we kept wanting her to stop telling us more. I was like, TMI, TMI, why are you doing this? But I think it's the way that she feels empowered is when she talks about it. And that's her prerogative. But it was kind of wrong place, wrong time. We're at dinner. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Confusing.
I mean, I think it did nothing but empower Bethenny and Carole when she said, I threw up my food the other day, because she was constantly saying, I'm recovered, I'm in recovery, I don't have it anymore. And they kept saying, she's in denial. It's everything we've been watching in their interviews. And now she just went and blurted out, like, yeah, I still struggle with it. I just threw up 3 days ago. Like, that's very in the middle of an eating disorder. So it only helps Carole and Bethenny feel superior in their argument. So I don't think that was a good thing to share, but I think she just lost her, like, when you get so angry and you like don't even know what you're saying, you just like you can't even see, you're just yelling. Like, I think that's where it got for her.
It's interesting to see the way Sonja, Ramona, and Jules and Dorinda respond to Jules's behavior. Like, they just almost ignore it completely. They act like the eating disorder really doesn't exist. And like with the snack situation, how Carole's like, she brought snacks on the bus, and she like it pissed her off a little bit. She's like, because she always brings a lot of food to everything, and she always has a lot of food out. And that was something I believe it was Carole and Bethenny that noticed. But like, for instance, like Sonja doesn't notice that, and Dorinda doesn't notice it. I don't know what's worse. Is it like better to notice it and then be aware of it as a friend, or better to pretend it's not happening? I don't know, because at some point Jules does want somebody to acknowledge it and help, and be sympathetic to it. I don't think she wants people to completely act like it's not there, because she talks about it. So I don't know. It's a weird there's two completely different sides. There's no balance. It's either like they're completely calling her out all the time, or they're never talking about it.
Well, I sometimes feel off balance, at least once a month. Go through all the emotions, go through all the feelings and stuff. Ladies, I know you understand what I'm talking about. When that monthly friend comes to you and you just feel out of control, like you can't do anything, you're always hungry. That's at least the way that I am. So I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about Lola Tampons, which are actually the official sponsor of AfterBuzz is loves their tampons. We have them in our bathrooms here.
Yes, we do.
And they arrive in a convenient little box right to your door with multiple different options. You can do choose your preferred assortment of 18 light, regular, super tampons. You can decide on the quantity, and you can decide on the frequency. So you can let the shipment come to you monthly. You can let it come to you, twice a month. You can let it come to you every other month. Whatever works for you guys. And we're so always concerned about what we're eating and our beauty products. We should also be worried about what we're actually putting into our body. And these are 100% hypoallergenic cotton tampons with no additives, synthetics, chemicals, or dyes. And the FDA doesn't actually require brands to disclose what's in their tampons.
No way.
So it's kind of crazy if you go. I've read about a few brands that it's kind of scary because they don't tell you what's in them unless you literally seek out the information yourself. And these Lola tampons are completely 100% cotton BPA-free plastic applicators. They just make your month easier by delivering them to your door. There's no mystery fibers, no more doubts about what's going on with your body. And they're created by women for women. And they wanted to create a product that all of us could use and feel comfortable and happy with. And I think the customizable subscription thing is just the greatest thing ever. Have them delivered to your door. I still get nervous when I have to go and pick them up from the Target or wherever. I'm like, I'm buying tampons. Oh, there's a lady at the checkout. Great. Not going to the guy. Because, but think about it. That's how I feel.
I feel
Ladies.
like I always forget them. It's a genius idea to just have them
It
delivered.
is really smart. Every
delivered
month
to
I'm
you.
always like,
Yeah.
I know I have that one tampon in my car somewhere.
Exactly.
Find
I do
it.
that with the razors. Do it with my tampons.
Yeah, that's genius.
So you can actually get 60% off your first order by going to mylola.com and enter BUZZ when you subscribe. And make this easy on yourself and know that you're healthy and safe and everything going into you is all good for you and natural, because that's
Nice.
what we need as women.
Awesome. What was that? Mylola.com.
Mylola.com.
I'm writing it down.
And make sure that you use the code BUZZ and you'll get 60% off your first order.
Woohoo!
That's a savings right there, and on the deal finder.
She is
So.
a deal finder.
The
She
official
absolutely is.
tampon of AfterBuzz.
That's
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
nice. Oh.
Thanks, ladies, for just letting me tell you
Oh,
about
yeah,
what
of
happens to me
course.
once a month.
I think it's,
all of
we all go through it, and let's try to make it a little easier if that helps. Let's do
There's
it.
been a lot of vagina talk this season.
I
We're
know.
just
Exactly, we're just
just
continuing.
rolling
I
on
know.
with it.
Speaking of vaginas, so Ramona, I'm just trying to find a segue to Ramona, and she has a vagina, so Ramona
Does she, though?
tries.
Sometimes.
Healthy this year,
It's
though.
healthy, yes. Ramona steps in. She decides, I'm going to fix this giant fight by asking everybody to go on a vacation to Mohegan Sun, where there's lots of candy and snacks and fun. And everybody's like, huh? It was just very interesting that that was her way. It was either like she wasn't listening to the entire fight, or she just
She wasn't.
Yeah.
She was texting Luann.
It was fascinating, but it did fix the situation, or put a Band-Aid on it, because everybody stopped fighting for the moment. And it is definitely a cute idea to take everybody to Mohegan Sun. I mean, if you live on the East Coast, that's your Vegas, so that's gonna be a fun experience for them, and I'm excited to see who's the lucky one out of the group who wins all the money. But then we have Luann and Ramona in the next scene. They're in the street. They're not working the streets. They're in the street, and they are discussing what Ramona said at the dinner regarding Tom. And I know I read today that Tom came out into the press and said, he's basically saying that everything Ramona and Sonja are saying about how long they were together is not true. And I'll post the link on my Twitter, but she did mention during that dinner, and that's what caused this fight with Luann, that Tom is, not to be trusted, or Tom had girlfriends or was dating her and was with Sonja, and Sonja chimed in. It wasn't a good situation. But it looked like they've kind of moved on from it. I just think that at the end of the day, Luann is she just is so infatuated with him. She's not hearing what Ramona's saying. And Ramona, finally tonight, I saw the side of her that I was trying to understand, which is she's just trying to say, as a friend, I just want to warn you, this, and this. And then she mentions the whole situation with the husband. Tom was dating a girl, and she stole him, almost like she steals boyfriends or something. What was that?
I didn't like this. So basically, we watched it a bunch to try and make sure that we were getting the proper information. And what it sounded like Ramona was explaining was that LuAnn saw him while he was out on a date with a woman he'd been dating for 3 months at this point, and basically like went up to him and kind of stole him away. LuAnn is saying that he grabbed her hand and they left together, and that, you know, women and men, they're going to do what they want, and they had magic, and so that's it. My note was, and until he finds magic with someone else.
Exactly.
Because he's here dating somebody or on a date. Whether he's dating multiple people, he's there on a date with somebody, leaving with another woman. That could potentially be you at some point. And I guarantee you this ain't the first time that he's done this.
That does say a lot about a person.
Wow.
And it is girl code. Don't do, like, if he's out on a date and you guys have some sort of magic, the magic will still be there tomorrow when he's at his own place or out and takes you out, and you're not like, that's just bad. It's just bad karma.
Yeah.
It's just bad juju coming to you, and I stay away from that.
And I love how she completely denied it and then admits it at the end.
Yeah. Well, Ramona had a good point. She's like, you need to take your time with situations like this, like to see if it's really going to work. Like the times that are the really hard times, that's when you know that that person's your soulmate, not when you're on vacation. It's true though. How great is everything when you're on vacation and you just met somebody and everything's new? Give it time, because everything diminishes. It's not as fun as it was in the beginning, and it's not as fun as it was when you're on vacation. And I think she's just living in this. She's just holding on to this moment right now, this freshness, this newness to this like relationship that is like, you know, she said, and then it was funny. She used the example of her ex-husband. It's like, that didn't last though. I didn't know what kind of example that was. I knew it was my first husband, but you're not with your first husband,
Right.
But they were together for a long time. I mean, we're not talking the Chloe and Lamar where they met and 3 days later were married and ended up divorcing within a year.
How long was that? 2 weeks for them? Not for Chloe and Lamar, for LuAnn and her husband?
was like
Something like that.
Yeah, a
2
couple
weeks.
weeks. And they were together for what, 18 years?
Yeah.
I mean, they still broke up, but Hollywood
It's a good
standards, that's a good run.
We don't know how long they were happy though, do we?
No.
Like how long till? Because I know that as the Countess.
That was my shoe.
No.
That was my shoe. We're not having any other situations here.
Your phone.
I would totally tell you if it was something different, considering I just talked to you about my cycle.
Yes, yes, of course. Oh my God, we are just mental. Yeah, I don't know if Ramona's ever gonna give up on letting LuAnn know that what she thinks about Tom.
That it's just not ladylike the way she met Tom.
Yeah, it's not ladylike.
She's not giving it up.
But you know what is ladylike? It's 3 ladies meeting for lunch and eating Adam's heart-shaped pizzas. That's
was really
ladylike.
cute.
That was really cute. It looked delicious too. I was not really sold when I heard the whole cauliflower thing, but then I was like, okay, this looks delicious.
Good.
Did we think during this meeting it was Jules, Dorinda, and Bethenny? I don't know. I felt like Dorinda was almost, not that she was saying anything negative, but she was kind of talking about Jules. It wasn't negative, but like she was the one saying you shouldn't talk about Jules behind her back, and they're all talking about Jules behind her back, good or bad. That's what they're doing. They were discussing the situation that had happened. Dorinda was involved. Once again, I'm saying it's not that it was negative. It's just that they're doing that. I think the action is like, okay, let's just stop doing this and stop talking about it and talk to Jules. What did you guys think about the things that they discussed? And
Bethenny was like, I haven't said anything about her. Or I haven't said anything to her. Yes, you did. You say, find a verb. You say, stupid as stupid does. And then when she gets nervous, you're like, I'm speaking now. She's like so aggressive toward her. She has to take some accountability. And then we'll talk about it later. But Bethenny's such a fascinating character because she's like, gets angry and then she's on the verge of tears. I thought she was going to burst into tears at the end of the dinner. And then on the bus, she's like, I don't care about her. She's a ficus tree. She's nothing in the corner. And then she cares a lot because she's talking about it with Dorinda. So she needs to decide she's emotionally like
Unstable.
She's not consistent. She acts like she gives 0 fucks. She obviously does. So yeah, when she said, I haven't said one thing. Yes, you have.
right, yeah.
I thought Bethenny, it was good to know Bethenny's side of saying Jules is paranoid because she told me a bunch of stuff about her marriage, like dark secrets, and she thinks I'm going to share them. So it was good to know that maybe that's where Jules was coming from the night before when she's like, don't talk behind my back. It's like, well, Bethenny hasn't, but you told her all these things. But this is all being fueled by Dorinda saying, you shouldn't tell girls you don't know very well private things about yourself because they're going to use it against you. So I find it interesting that they're just chilling with Dorinda, just recapping the night before, but this is a lot of like Dorinda behind the scenes mixing it up. And she's bouncing back and forth between the two friend groups right now. And I find it weird. They're only talking about Jules, but they're not holding Dorinda accountable for getting her fired up.
Right.
So Dorinda's kind of the puppeteer, so I'm going to lay a little thing right now, and I'm going to be totally probably wrong. I bet you Dorinda's sitting next to Andy.
No,
So
I
you
don't
can
think
I'm
you
not
can
looking at
tell
my
me
phone.
you
You
can
guys
tell me
can know.
later. I mean, it's probably going to be Ramona and Bethany.
Don't we
Luann
know?
and Bethany.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, it's
Luann
Luann.
and, it's Luann and Bethany.
Yeah.
But
because-
Dorinda might not be far.
Dorinda's right next to Luann.
Because Dorinda's a little puppet master this year.
well,
She's
let's-
in all the
let's
pots.
let's not say the rest of it. We're going to tease it because
Yeah.
Megan's going to tease it.
Okay.
So we'll keep talking about it because we
So
have
I was
some
wrong.
perspectives on it. Yeah.
But you were close.
Yeah, no, it's
You were
usually the
close.
OGs next to them. But
Yeah.
so
But Dorinda's just been kind of like, and not really upsetting anyone, but she's just kind of got her hands in all the
a little
cookie
bit
jars.
Lisa Vanderpump going on here.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. You're so right, Lyndsey. But yes, they're talking about how she directed all the anger at Bethany during this pizza outing that they had, and Carole just once again kind of just seems like angry. I guess I don't know. Something's really pissing her off. I don't know
It's
what
Bethany.
it is. No,
They're
pi-
just too close.
Maybe.
She's becoming like her.
Yeah, she just doesn't seem herself. But
You've heard of that, where you become like the 5 people you spend the most time with,
absolutely. Yeah.
and you start to like rub off on them.
Right. I think she's also getting empowered because she feels protected because Bethany's always around and vice versa. I think it's good to have, you're always stronger in numbers. And if you always have someone around, it's like, probably can say a little more, feel a little more, and not be as afraid. Then we have Sonja's dinner with her Dior purse that she decided to tag along with her the entire way, even though she's in her own home. She had the interns.
I can't.
I couldn't even. We were
I
like,
was like, what is in there? My guess was her pills. Like, it was the tiniest little bag on her wrist. And I'm like, was she carrying around her cell phone in there? Like, I don't get it.
I just think it was because she wanted to show she had like the Lady Dior bag with the little rhinestone thingy, whatever that was.
I love that she blamed the interns break everything.
Yeah, that was so crazy. And she's like helping her answer the door. What's her name? What's the intern's name?
Suki, I
Suki.
think? Something like that.
Yeah. But they're all dressed up to the nines. It's John and Sonja. They arrive, look beautiful and handsome. He's got like velvet on, I think. And he looks good for John, you know? And then we have Michael and Jules, who they were kind of arguing at the door. You could hear her say something about how he was late or something. He's like, "Are we early?" And she's like, "How could we be early? You came home late and then took a shower." I'm like,
Oops. That's not
That
good when a
fight
guy's
again.
showering right after work. Unless he was working out.
Yeah, he doesn't work construction.
he works
he doesn't work.
downstairs.
Yeah.
In
So
a suit, so why wouldn't he just meet her? Yeah.
how does she not track where he is if he lives downstairs? It's still something I can't comprehend. I don't get it. I'm sure.
Girl, get on his
Weird.
phone right now.
Yeah, exactly. And then we have the blind date that Jules wants to hook up Sonja with, and apparently he's good friends with John. And I liked him from the get-go, but we did think he was a little old. Mm-hmm. But he was so sweet. Rocco, the
You could
Italian
tell he was
guy.
handsome when he was young. He
Yeah.
had a nice face.
So nice. And Sonja, were you guys surprised at her reaction? She was happy. Were you guys surprised? I was surprised.
Yeah, because she actually knew him already.
Yeah.
And she's like,
Knew
I never
of
would have thought he would be interested in me.
She's like, he knows everyone. He knows everyone.
Around the world.
I'm like, he's rich.
yeah.
And she likes him, and he seems really nice. And I think that was a great match. And then, did we find out what a breakfast manicure is? Because he mentioned he would give a breakfast manicure.
I still think it's she stays the night and then they have breakfast and he takes her to go get her nails done.
Oh,
So it's the hookup.
That's cute.
Is it?
No?
Is the hookup and then take someone out for a manicure?
Maybe
I mean,
he
if
has
it's more
someone-
than a one night stand.
I'd prefer to be taken out to breakfast so nobody has to cook or clean up.
Yeah. Maybe someone comes to the house with breakfast, and then someone else comes to the house and gives a manicure.
But Jewel,
Yes, yeah,
Jewel
I
made the
think.
comment
Wealthy.
that she was excited because Sonja was gonna get some tonight. His Sonja was gonna put out. So
yeah, it was kind of.
I don't think anyone minds the
Yeah.
breakfast manicure the next day.
We gotta find out. We gotta look that up in the Real Housewives dictionary because I'm still kind of not sure what that means. And then we have the dinner, and Jules. Who's the one that says oh, Jules really found her voice.
Dorinda.
Yeah, okay.
Of course.
What the heck was that? Why would you bring that up?
in the pot.
Why would you bring that up?
Well, she said it to Sonja so that I guess they could all kind of debrief on the night before, because the other girls kind of debriefed over pizza, and then Luann and Ramona had their thing. But it was like now
But Dorinda already debriefed. She's debriefing.
Yeah, well, that's why I was like,
with
oh, she's already talked about this Wednesday, and now she's going to talk about it again with other people.
source. Yep.
I find it so interesting. She was at both the lunch and the dinner.
I thought it was interesting that Jules says she has a gut feeling that Bethenny has issues. She has a gut feeling that she has issues.
It's no
What issue?
secret. Bethany's wackadoo.
It's a walking issue.
Her childhood was a train wreck, and she's a manic, crazy person. Like,
So what's the gut feeling? It just validated that she's probably never seen the show.
Bethany said she does have an issue. She has an issue being around your eating disorder because it makes her have like childhood panic attack stuff. Like,
What do you think she was hinting at, though? Do you think she was hinting at maybe one of them has an eating disorder?
no.
No?
Maybe.
I mean, they don't, but I'm wondering. I don't think they do. I don't know them
But
personally.
maybe she's just trying to like put
She's
that
trying to
on
make her look bad. I don't know.
Yeah.
It wasn't working for me, whatever that comment meant.
What do we think that was said? You know, when Bethenny vaguely mentioned that she knew a lot about the relationship between Michael and Jules, but she's kept her mouth shut this whole time, and she said she thinks Jules was afraid that Bethenny had said something.
Didn't we have this discussion a couple weeks ago, you and I, for the show, saying that Bethenny actually knew already?
Oh, yeah. Well, Bethany revealed on her talk show, her radio show, that she knew before they even came on the show about their marriage problems.
So she knew it from Jules.
Word on the street was, from somebody else even, like a mutual friend, that word on the street was like that they were going to split up. So she must have talked to Jules about it off camera?
I think Bethenny, one thing, when I look at her, I see that she did keep her mouth shut. I believe she did with the eating disorder, too. It was Jules that really went out and started talking about it more. But I do believe that Bethenny never said anything. And I think Jules got really paranoid that she, you know, I had a friend that opened up to me once about their relationship, and she was so afraid that I had said something. I never did, but she would constantly be paranoid about it. It's like, you can't take it back once you say it, but you just got to trust the person you said it to.
Right.
So I just think that's probably what happened, but it was interesting. And then we have so that was the dinner. Anything else you want to discuss about the dinner party?
I thought it was cute that Rocco connected with Sonja about the napkin
napkin.
situation.
So
cute.
Like, so beautiful, so like sentimental, a great moment for Sonja to kind of tell a little bit about her family history, and for them to connect without Jules and Dorinda making it awkward for them. Like, look at, they get along.
My God, that was
They're the same
so
height.
awkward.
They have things. I was like, stop. Oh my God. I'd be like, you guys. I would give, if my friends were there, I'd be giving the evil look up. Like, shh.
So mortifying.
Yeah, so embarrassing. But I thought that was a beautiful moment with the napkin.
They recovered.
Too. So cute. He
Yes.
was so
So
genuine when he said that too.
they're
He's so
dating.
classy. Oh, I love him.
Also, I'm thoroughly disgusted by using the same napkin for 7 days.
I guess that's how the rich people did it back then.
That's so crazy that you
Yeah.
work your way around for a week. At least it was huge.
But it must look crappy. Like, what if you had like gravy and meatballs one night, and then you
That's
had
what
like
I
the
was
red
thinking.
side of the napkin, then
Or,
just
like,
sitting in there forever. You gotta wash it.
You're so
greasy spot.
Italian, gravy and meatballs.
Yeah, but like
But I don't think JP Morgan was eating gravy like our mom's like
maybe
sausage.
not.
What about like a steak?
Maybe not.
Like
but
the steak juice.
the stain is sitting on there for 7 days.
No, it's
so whatever
disgusting.
you ate the
Setting
first
in.
day is not leaving. And so those look really clean to me. Those
She
napkins.
said they were 200 years old, so it must date back to before we really knew about like the bacteria situation. Would probably.
And how did they get the stains out all those years? They didn't have.
Washboards.
Oh yeah, the washboard and the maids on the washboard.
They didn't have any Tide or whatever. I don't know how they
They
did
had
that.
a nasty bar of
Lime.
soap. Yeah.
Soap.
They didn't have John
Lie.
to send them to.
Yeah, true. Exactly. They were really white. Okay. They looked really clean. So then we have the bus, and we have a little segment of, we see like Heather from the past. They show a flashback of Heather getting really upset about them being Sony being late and like waiting outside and everything. And then we have one of the
Bethenny.
first, Bethenny.
Cheersing.
Absolutely. She cheers to Luann's engagement, which was crazy. I mean, it was nice of her though that she did that, but
was
she was
very nice of her.
kind of like, she was like, well, if you really were my family, like you say, you would have called me. I don't think Luann would have called anybody. I wouldn't if I were Luann. She's getting grief from everybody. Why would you call?
Hell no, after that dinner, I'd
Yeah.
be like, screw it. You can read about it in the paper.
Exactly. I'm not gonna call you like, hey, I know like you think that like Tom sucks, but I'm getting engaged.
Right.
Like, I really want to hear your thoughts on this. Like,
Well,
as I
she-
sit here.
Exactly.
totally told Page 6 about it so that they would all read about it.
Or
so.
Bravo did to get press.
Yeah.
Somebody did. or maybe both. So when Jules walked in, we just talked about this, but when Jules walked in, she had lots of snacks, and Carole mentioned something about having lots of snacks, right? Mm-hmm. Did you think that it was interesting that during the bus ride, Jules could hear everything that Bethenny and Dorinda were saying?
Why all season long? I'm so upset about this. All season long, all the girls are talking about each other when they're sitting next to each other at the dinners, when they're on a bus 2 feet away from each other. Like whoever said that, this is not a tour bus, this is a party bus.
Yeah, but what's worse? Like Jules sitting there listening and not being like, hey, I can hear you, or them doing it. I don't even know what's worse.
I feel like she should have.
She should have said, it's still rude of Bethenny to be having the conversation, but then as the person, I'd go, I can hear you.
Yeah.
Can we discuss this right now?
They were drinking alcohol. They were definitely drinking Skinny Girls because they had the little Bethenny logo on the drinks. Do you think that they were like, I don't know how many hours into that ride that was. It's like a 6-hour car ride. I don't know if they were drunk or what, but that was like
even
ridiculous.
Still, sorry.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Especially for, I mean, I know I said it already, but Bethenny, who said she was like a bush in the corner, she doesn't even care. Obviously, you care.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes I think Bethenny says things in such a way that we just believe that everything she's saying is totally true because she says it in such a way that's like, this is it. But I really don't think she always knows what she's saying. No. Well, she doesn't really believe a lot of things she says, but she says it with such integrity that you're just like, oh my God, she believes that 100%. As we see, because she keeps on going back all season, like, I feel bad I said this, I feel bad I did this.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I feel stung by her words. By Jules's words. So you are hurt by it.
Yeah.
So approach the situation and say, I'm hurt by this. I understand if my hurt came off then as negativity and anger towards you because I was hurt. Like, I mean, essentially, is that kind of an excuse? Well, yeah. But at least you're revealing your hurt, because sometimes you just need to tell the other person that so that they can common ground. You can both squash it and then move on so that we don't need to keep having this conversation 4 weeks later with heart cauliflower pizzas and bus conversations.
Right, well, she did say, I mean, she did the same thing with Sonja. Like, she was never going to talk to her again, then she did. And speaking of that, we have that last scene where it was really nice and they're finally getting back, to that place they were. Sonja had this tooth surgery, so she brought up Percocets at one point to Jules too, which was kind of interesting. But she was like laughing and just her old self. I don't know what laughing gas she had or whatever, but she was just her old self, and I think Bethenny really was attracted to that. And it was just weird because it's like we all really thought that was the end of their friendship, just the way Bethenny talked to her. So interesting.
If she apologized to you, would you accept it?
I would. I wouldn't. I don't know if I would never be able to forget it, but I would accept it.
Yeah. I would accept it because I don't want to be in all these group settings with someone who doesn't want to speak to me.
Yeah.
So I would accept it. But I think Sonja backpedaled a lot, like, oh God, I did something wrong, but I didn't know it, and I really had to think about it. And it's like, I would be like, thank you for your apology. That really hurt my feelings, you know?
Exactly. So we get some news and gossip really quick, right?
Okay,
Megan?
so the the reunion was filmed today. So the ladies binged watch, according to Bethenny on her radio show. First she said 3, then she said 5. So it seems like maybe there's up to 5 episodes left. I'm not sure if that includes tonight or not. But the seating chart for the reunion today, of course, Andy in the middle. To his left, our right, would be Bethenny first, then Ramona, and then Carole. So they separated Bethenny and Carole, which I like.
I love that.
And then LuAnn is next to Andy. So that's making me think that LuAnn really shows up at the end of this season. Like, that it's going to get a little crazy.
She bumped Ramona. That's big.
Yes, and then Dorinda is next to her, and then Sonja, and then Jules on the end, which I think we all kind of could figure that out.
I'm just fascinated because I know Bethenny would be next to Andy. That's a given. But to pick between Ramona and LuAnn, that's a tough one. Mm-hmm. And to pick LuAnn, which we all thought she was kind of like not on the outs with them a little bit with the
she brought the drama this year.
And also with Jules, Bethenny was kind of making a dig on her today, saying, well, I think I've already cast the next housewife, and it's a woman I met on vacation by the pool, and da-da-da-da. And she's like, I'm not very good at this because I cast Aviva and they cast Jules, and sorry about Jules. So being super snarky. So I guess they're still not getting along.
So she's a casting director too for the show, apparently.
I know. Carole was on the show. They shit talked to LuAnn a lot, and said they don't think they're invited to the wedding. And also, Carole and Adam had a big bump in their relationship due to the plane crash that he was in, because it was a small plane, and that's the way JFK and Carolyn died. And she's like, he didn't want to stop talking about it, and I just needed him to stop talking about it. She's like, so that was a big bump. We're finally over it. And I think that's it.
Wow.
That's
crazy.
Yeah.
Queen of gossip.
She's always
Oh,
got
and their
Fern's
book, they
gossip.
scrapped the book because they were fighting too much about it.
Really?
Yeah, so
Good.
we'll see.
So maybe she'll have a storyline next year.
Yeah,
Her and
maybe.
Adam
He's
breaking
moving
up.
to Brooklyn too, so that's not going to be an easy commute back and forth between each other's places. So, that's what's
Subway.
going
I
on
have to
there.
take the subway. All right, we have to get in some predictions now. Quickly.
Your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
I predict that Jules is not going to have any money to play with since she was asking Michael if he deposited money into her account. Yikes.
I'm surprised they don't share an account.
Once again, why? Ladies, we always should have our own bank accounts. I'm all for the joint account. Have your own. I read this and
Yeah.
he's just not that into you. Greg Barrett has said it for years. Always have your own side account. God forbid anything happens to you or to your man. You have your own money.
Yeah, 100%. But hers.
I would say
apparently
men
she-
too.
She has her own
Dudes
account.
too.
Apparently, there's no money in it. All right, Fern.
I think they're gonna think that Jules also has a gambling problem. Like she has all these addictions, and they're gonna kind of bring it up and piss her off.
Good point.
I'm going to predict the trip goes shockingly well, and Bethany's going to be more into the medical stuff and have issue. And her assistant, obviously says you're in denial, so I think it's more medical stuff.
Okay, and we don't have enough time, so I agree with everybody. And you guys, where can we find you, Fern?
You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat at Fern Ronay, RONAY.
And Lyndsey?
And you guys can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Lyndsey Wegner, or my blog, lyndseyWegner.blogspot.com.
Megan.
And you guys can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat, all at Megan Stecher, MEGANSTECHER.
Amazing. You can find me on Twitter at Ashley Daniels, Periscope's Ashley Daniels, Instagram is Miss Ashley Daniels, and we will see you next week for another episode. Bye.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.